Hey guys, first we'll start off with the undesirable effects of deforestation. So here we can see it's a forest full of animals and stuff. And let's say we cut one of our trees down. So, boom, that tree disappeared. Okay, and then since that tree disappeared, all the worms munching on it also died. So since the worms munching on it died, these birds they'll get hungry, so they might die. And since the birds died, the eagles won't have enough food to go around, so they'll die. And another reason is that trees, they respirate. So as you can see in this diagram, they give out oxygen, they take in carbon dioxide. So without trees, the carbon dioxide levels rise, which contributes to global warming, which I'll go more in depth about later. Another thing that's bad about deforestation is that the trees often hold the dirt in the ground, like they make the dirt firm so the wind can't blow it away. But you see that since now there's less trees, the dirt will be a lot loose, and when the wind comes, dirt just gets blown away, and that's bad for the plants and that sometimes makes the um, dirt less fertile, so not as much things can grow on it, which is bad. Yeah, I'm just saying that deforestation may also make land more prone to floods because of the soil erosion. Okay, now we'll be talking about the need for conservation. I'm going to talk about one reason we might need to conserve species and their habitats is that um, people might think like they might be important for a specific culture. For example, these people, they might think this animal is important for their culture. So if the animal becomes extinct and dies, they'll be sad. Okay, so another reason we might need cows, animals and stuff is that we might need food and other resources off them. So let's say that the cow went extinct, and here it is. So let's say it went extinct, then the people who used to eat cows might starve and die, and that's bad. Um, yeah, yeah. Some other reasons. We shouldn't let species become extinct because of it might be a moral issue. Okay, big font, no good issue, and that it also lessens our species diversity over the sun because I'm the boss. We also need to conserve natural resources, and one of these resources is water, because some reasons we need to conserve water is that the building of dams which collect water might takes like the place of natural forests and stuff. So boom, you see all those forests are dead now. Yeah, that's bad. Okay, some other reasons that we might need to conserve water is that water takes a lot of electricity to produce, and so if we don't, obviously, the more water we use, the less it uses more electricity, which is bad. And then also, if we use too much water, we might not have enough to drink, and we need water, so we might die, and that's bad. Also, we have to conserve fossil fuels, and the way fossil fuels are made, the reason why we have to conserve them, sorry, is like part of is related to how they're made. How they're made is that ancient animal bones, let's say this one, they slowly over like the process of millions of years turn into oil, and here that's oil. However, so it takes millions and millions of years to create. However, the way that humans are using it, we're slowly but surely using it all up, and that's not good because it takes millions and millions of years to create, and we don't have that amount of time. So we should conserve them so we can use them for longer. Okay, now I'm talking about the effects of water pollution by sewage and chemical waste. Okay, one thing that's bad about it is that pollution might have germs and stuff in it, like bacteria. So here we see some water. Now you can see there's some bacteria in it. If I open it up, and that bacteria looks pretty bad and might kill you and might give you diseases. One of these diseases you can get from poisoned, like polluted water is called typhoid. Not sure what it does, but it's probably bad. And that one doesn't even have eyes, and that's bad because it means it's more evil. And we'll just put it back in the water. Okay. Also, when water's polluted, you can't use it to like water plants and stuff anymore because it'll kill them. So yeah, as you can see here, here's a nice bunch of wheat. However, if we water it with this bacteria-filled water, it might die and turn into this stuff, which I think is dead wheat. And that's we don't want dead wheat, we want live wheat because we can eat that. So yeah, and also um there's some undesirable effect of overuse of fertilizers. So here we can see a fertilizer. What fertilizers contain is lots of nitrates, and here's a small nitrate particle I'll open up, and yep, this is what a nitrate particle looks like. I'll just put it back in the fertilizer. And but you see, with fertilizer, when it goes into water, because fertilizer doesn't nitrates can sometimes get in water because they might like just go into the water. And so yeah, this is what happens. One thing nitrates does is that they cause algae, which is what we see here, to grow a lot faster. And when that happens, algae uses a lot of oxygen, so we'll just see boom, there's a lot more algae because of the nitrates, because there's some nitrates in the water. Yeah. Okay. Since there's lots of algae, they'll take up lots of oxygen, and do you know who needs oxygen? These fish here. So some of them might die because of that. Okay. And another thing they do is they 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 block out sunlight as well, so that these plants, watch if you open. Okay, now that I've opened it up, you see that there's small fish and stuff inside, like real small fish compared to the other fish that we see there. So maybe these fish eat that fish, and if all these plants die, well, a lot of them die because of the lack of sunlight from the algae. That means there's less fish for the big fish to eat, so some of them might starve to death. So now we look at this ecosystem compared to like when we first looked at it, and it looks a lot worse. A lot less fish, a lot less underwater sea life, just a bunch of algae. And that's what nitrates can do, and this whole process is called eutrophication. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but I'll put it up. I'll edit it in. Okay, now I'll be talking about the effects of acid rain. Um, Acid rain occurs when like some chemicals in the air mix up with the rain, and this lowers the rain's pH, and that's bad. So what happens is sometimes the rain might go inside the water, and as you can see here, here's a pool full of nice neutral or near neutral 7 pH water, but when rain goes into it, boom, it doesn't turn red, but there's a lot of dead fish, and see a lot of these fish just die because they can't survive in such um, acidic water, and the plant might die because plants usually prefer some water, and no one cares about the algae. So also they might rain on these plants like this wheat, and as I said, as the sea plants, like they usually can only grow in specific pHs. So can the wheat, so only the wheat can only grow in some pHs. So here we see after the acid rain, they all die. Yep, I used some of the same pictures from before because they. Okay, some other effects of acid rain is that some crops they have an optimum pH, which is what we saw with the wheat. Um, Additionally, acid rain can affect some buildings that we live in because it can corrode the buildings like the metal, etc., the cement, the limestone, basically anything that reacts with acids will they'll get damaged, which is bad. And they can leach the nutrients from the soil, which makes it barren, so nobody can use it, especially plants. Well, not nobody can use it, but just plants can't grow in it, and that's bad because it's good to have fertile land. They basically do the same thing. So, okay, next I'll be doing some air pollution, and well, here we can see this diagram. It's got the sun, and the sun, it gives off these red arrows, which symbolize heat. Yep, so here we can see the heat. It hits the ground, and then it bounces back up. Usually what happens is that the heat will usually, will hit some of the heat will escape back into space, and some of it will be reflected back down onto the Earth. And the particles that do that they're called greenhouse gases, but some of them, well, one of them is methane, which is CH4, and we can see it here. And another one of them is known as carbon dioxide, which you probably heard of. And we can see it here, oxygen, oxygen, carbon. Yeah. Okay. So what happens is, with the greenhouse effect itself, we actually need it to survive. But what happens is, um, due to our factory and stuff, we end up making a lot of carbon dioxide. Oops. So you can see there's like a lot, just lots and lots of carbon dioxide. Yeah. And this also, we also produce lots of methane. So what happens here now is the heat that can't escape because it keeps hitting these, so it just ends up bouncing back down. And same goes for this one. So that means the Earth is just getting hotter and hotter. And some possible consequences for that, there's a lot of them, and I'll just list them on the screen. So here will be some effects of the intensified greenhouse effect. By intensified, I mean with like the excess carbon dioxide we produce as humans. But one of them is that since the Earth will keep getting hotter, the Earth keeps getting hotter. And because of this, the ice caps might melt. Well, they won't melt completely, like just suddenly, but they'll slowly melt, and they'll have less and less ice. So ice caps melt. This means a couple of things. One of them is that polar bears, penguins, oh, that is polar, penguins, other Arctic stuff, Arctic animals, they might lose their habitat, so they might die. Something else that might happen is that since like the ice turns into water when it melts, and so the average water level on Earth will rise. I think in the last 20 years it's already rise 2 centimeters, which doesn't seem like a lot, but in the long run it means a lot of things for various ecosystems, etc. Yep. Thanks for watching, boys.